Hello, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and today's episode is going to be really exciting and super helpful, especially if you've been wondering how to learn English faster and speak more fluently. If you've ever felt like you're studying hard but still not speaking confidently, this episode is just for you. We're going to break it all down and share practical strategies you can start using today. And of course, I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Bill. Hi, Bill. Great to have you here again.
Hey, Sarah, thank you. I'm really glad to be here. This is one of the most requested topics, right? So many learners are asking, how can I speak English fluently without taking years? And the good news is it's definitely possible with the right mindset and method.
Absolutely. And in this episode, we're going to share what really works. Not just theory, but real tips you can apply to your daily practice. We'll talk about the most common struggles English learners face, how to train your brain to think in English, and how you can speak without pausing too much.
Plus, we'll give you a simple daily routine that helps you improve fast and even do a little real-life conversation practice at the end so you can follow along.
So stay with us whether you're at home, walking, or commuting. You're about to learn how to level up your English in a natural and fun way. Let's dive in. So before we jump into the solutions, let's talk about some of the common struggles that most English learners face. And I think this is important because when you know that you're not alone, it becomes easier to keep going.
Absolutely, Sarah. One of the biggest things I hear from learners is this: I understand English, but I can't speak it. They can read, they can listen, but when it comes to speaking, they freeze.
Yes, that's such a common situation, and it can feel really frustrating. You spend months or even years learning, but when someone asks, "Hey, how are you?" you get nervous or you don't know what to say quickly.
Right. And a lot of that comes from fear of making mistakes. Fear of being judged, or just not having the confidence to speak out loud.
I've heard people say, "I think in my language first, then try to translate it into English, and that slows everything down."
Exactly. That habit of translating is a big block. It makes your brain work harder than it needs to. And it's totally normal in the beginning. But over time, you want to move toward thinking directly in English.
Another struggle is vocabulary. Some learners feel like they don't know enough words, so they avoid speaking altogether. But the truth is, you don't need thousands of words to be fluent.
That's so true. Even just 500 to 1,000 words, if you know how to use them, can help you speak confidently in everyday situations. Fluency isn't about knowing everything. It's about using what you know well.
And let's not forget about time. Many learners say they don't have time to study English every day. But in reality, even 15 or 20 minutes a day can make a big difference if you use that time smartly.
Exactly. It's not about long study hours. It's about smart, consistent practice. We'll talk more about that soon. But first, let's look at how you can actually learn English faster with simple strategies that work.
Let's go there. All right, let's get into the good stuff. How to learn English fast. I know everyone wants the secret formula. So, Bill, what's one of the fastest ways to improve your English?
Great question, Sarah. The number one thing I always recommend is immersion. That means surrounding yourself with English every day, even if you don't live in an English-speaking country.
Yes, and you don't need to move to the US or the UK to do this. You can create your own English world at home. For example, change your phone language to English, watch YouTube videos in English, listen to English music or podcasts.
Exactly. Even just having English playing in the background while you cook or clean helps your brain absorb the language naturally. That's passive learning, and it's powerful.
But passive learning isn't enough on its own, right? You also need to be active.
Right again. That's where active learning comes in. Repeating phrases out loud, copying native speakers, asking yourself questions in English, or even writing your daily thoughts in English.
You mentioned something really cool earlier, shadowing. Can you explain what that is?
Absolutely. Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and repeat exactly what they say at the same time, or just after. You're copying their pronunciation, tone, rhythm, and sentence structure. It's one of the best exercises to improve fluency fast.
It sounds simple, but it's super effective. Even if you don't understand every single word, your brain is learning the patterns of English.
Yes, and patterns are key. You don't need to memorize grammar rules, you just need to hear and repeat real sentences. Your brain starts to notice, this is how we say this, and it becomes natural.
I always tell learners to focus on chunks of language, short phrases like, "I'm not sure, can I help you?" or "That sounds great." These are the building blocks of conversation.
Definitely. Learn real sentences, not just individual words. That way, you don't have to think so hard when you're speaking. It just flows.
Another great tip is to speak from day one. Don't wait until you feel ready, because honestly, that day might never come.
Right. Speak early, speak often. Even if it's just talking to yourself in front of a mirror or reading a sentence out loud from a book. It helps your mouth and brain get used to working together in English.
And don't worry about mistakes. They're part of the process.
Yes. If you're not making mistakes, you're probably not learning. Fluency comes from practice, not perfection.
So to recap, immerse yourself in English, use shadowing, learn real phrases, speak every day, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. These are the habits that help you learn faster.
Exactly. And now that we've talked about fast learning, let's dive deeper into the next part. How to build speaking fluency, step by step.
All right, so we've talked about learning fast. Now let's go one level deeper. How do you build speaking fluency? Because a lot of learners know the words, they understand grammar, but they still struggle when it's time to speak.
Exactly. And fluency isn't just about speed. It's about being able to speak naturally, without stopping too much, and expressing your thoughts smoothly.
So what's the first step?
The first step is building confidence by speaking every day. And I really mean every day. It doesn't have to be long. Even 5 to 10 minutes can train your brain to get comfortable with English.
Totally. I tell my students, talk to yourself. Describe what you're doing. For example, I'm making coffee now. I'm going to work. I need to check my email. These small sentences are like daily workouts for your speaking muscles.
Yes. That's called self-talk. And it's one of the most powerful tools, especially if you don't have a speaking partner. It keeps your brain in English mode.
Another great technique is using question and answer drills. You ask yourself a question like, "What did I do yesterday?" and then answer in full English sentences. "Yesterday, I went to the market and bought some vegetables."
Exactly. You're not just learning vocabulary, you're training your response time. And response time is a big part of fluency. The faster you can think and answer, the more natural you sound.
Let's not forget about listening and repeating. We talked about shadowing earlier, but it's also good to pause a video or podcast and repeat what the speaker said, matching their tone and rhythm.
Right. And this helps with pronunciation, intonation, and even grammar. Because you're hearing how native speakers naturally form sentences, and you copy that style.
Also, I love using scripts from real conversations, like short dialogues from movies or shows. You can read both parts out loud or practice with a partner. It gives you real-life context.
That's a fun way to practice. You can even record yourself speaking and then listen back. I know it feels weird at first, but it really helps you hear your mistakes and fix them.
Yes, recording is powerful. And it helps you notice things like how clear your pronunciation is or how often you pause.
One more important thing. Fluency takes consistency. It's better to practice 10 minutes every day than 1 hour only once a week.
Exactly. Daily practice creates habits, and habits lead to fluency. So even if you're busy, find a small moment every day to speak.
So, to summarize, speak daily. Use self-talk. Practice questions and answers. Repeat real conversations. Record yourself. And stay consistent. These are all simple but powerful ways to build speaking fluency over time.
Beautifully said. Now let's move to another fun part, how to think in English. Because when your brain starts thinking in English, fluency becomes much easier. Okay, so we've shared a lot of tips so far, but now let's make it really practical. What does a daily English practice plan look like? How can learners organize their time to get the best results?
I love this part, because it's where everything comes together. So let's break it down. Even if you only have 30 minutes a day, you can make real progress if you use those 30 minutes wisely.
Yes. So let's imagine a simple 30-minute daily routine. What would the first part be?
All right, the first 10 minutes start with listening. Choose something interesting, a podcast, short YouTube video, or a news clip. Listen actively, not just for fun. Pay attention to how people speak, what words they use.
Exactly. And here's a tip. Pause and repeat. Listen to a sentence, pause, and try to say it yourself. That builds listening and speaking together.
Perfect. Now, the next 10 minutes, move into speaking practice. You can do shadowing or speak about your day. For example, today I'm going to work. Or yesterday I watched a movie. Just talk out loud.
And don't worry if no one is around to talk with. Like we said before, self-talk is one of the most powerful fluency tools. Just use your voice. Get your brain and mouth working together.
Exactly. Then, the last 10 minutes focus on review and vocabulary. Write down new phrases you heard earlier. Practice them. Try to use them in your own sentences.
Yes, and you don't need to memorize a whole list. Just 3 to 5 useful phrases a day is enough. The key is to use them, not just write them down.
So here's the full plan. 1. 10 minutes listening with focus. 2. 10 minutes speaking, shadowing or self-talk. 3. 10 minutes vocabulary review and sentence building.
That's it. Just 30 minutes a day. And if you have more time, even better. But the goal is to stay consistent.
Exactly. And if you stick with this daily routine for a month, you'll be amazed at how much more confident and fluent you feel.
So whether you're just starting out or already intermediate, create a routine. Stick to it and enjoy the process.
And remember, progress comes from practice, not perfection.
Beautifully said, Bill. All right, coming up next, let's talk about a powerful mental shift, how to think in English instead of always translating. Before we wrap up, let's take a moment to talk about something super important, motivation and mindset, because learning English isn't just about grammar and vocabulary, right?
Right. It's also about how you think about learning. Your mindset can be the difference between giving up and becoming fluent.
Exactly. And here's a truth. There will be days when you feel stuck, tired, or like you're not improving. But that's normal. It happens to everyone.
The key is to keep going, even on those days. Don't focus on being perfect. Focus on being consistent. Small steps every day are better than big steps once a week.
And always remember why you're learning. Is it for a better job? Travel? To make new friends? Keep that reason in your heart. It will keep you going when motivation feels low.
Yes. and celebrate your progress. Maybe today you understood a full video or spoke to someone in English. That's a big win. Be proud of yourself.
You're on a journey, and every step forward counts. So believe in yourself, stay positive, and trust the process.
Absolutely. You can do this. Fluency is possible, and your mindset is your superpower.
All right, Bill, let's give our listeners a real-life example of an everyday English conversation. Something simple but useful. How about a chat at a coffee shop?
Perfect. Let's set the scene. You're at a coffee shop, and you want to order a drink and maybe chat a little with the barista. Ready?
Ready. I'll be the customer and you be the barista.
Sounds good.
Hi, could I please have a medium latte?
Of course. Would you like any flavors with that? We have vanilla, caramel, and hazelnut.
I'll try caramel, please.
Great choice. Would you like it? All right. Will that be all for you today?
Yes, that's it, thank you.
Okay, your total is $4.50. You can pay at the counter.
Thanks. By the way, is there free Wi-Fi here?
Yes, there is. The password is coffee123.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Enjoy your latte.
That was simple, but it's exactly the kind of conversation learners need to practice. Notice how we used polite phrases like, could I please, and would you like?
Right, and small questions like, either free Wi-Fi are great for keeping a conversation going.
Listeners, try practicing this dialogue out loud, or even better, find a partner and role-play it. It helps build your confidence and fluency in real situations.
And don't be afraid to change the dialogue. Try ordering different drinks, or ask about the menu. Make it your own.
That's a great way to make learning fun and relevant to your daily life. All right, Bill, we're almost at the end. Let's leave our listeners with some final tips and key takeaways from today's episode.
Sure thing, Sarah. First, remember that learning English fast doesn't mean rushing. It means using smart, consistent strategies every day.
Exactly. Practice listening, speaking, and vocabulary regularly, even if it's just a little bit each day. Small habits add up.
Also, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are proof that you're trying and improving.
And keep your mindset positive. Stay motivated by remembering your goals and celebrating your progress.
Finally, practice speaking as much as you can talk to yourself. Use dialogues, shadow native speakers, and record your voice.
Yes, and if you follow these steps consistently, you'll see real improvement faster than you think.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep practicing, stay confident, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care and happy learning. And that brings us to the end of today's episode on how to learn English fast and speak fluently.
We hope you found these tips useful and feel inspired to practice every day.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more episodes in the English Learning Podcast series.
And if you enjoyed this episode, please like and share it with your friends who are also learning English.
Also, leave a comment below telling us which tip you liked the most or what you want us to cover next.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, practice makes perfect.
See you next time, and keep speaking English confidently.